Well, hello there, everybody. Let's see if it is going to go. It is a go. All right. Hello, everybody. Yeah, sometimes the old technology gods, they take a break every now and then. Yeah. Yeah. But I call them celluloid bikers. I love that line in that song. Little Steely Dan for all of those who are Steely Dan fans, and which I would think that a great deal of us are. I am. Like them a lot. Saw them a lot. Had a good time out there at Red Rocks, which is a fabulous place to see a concert, to absolutely no doubt. There we are. We're all back in the saddle. Bus is going fine. Not even slipping. We got all-wheel drive, so don't worry about the weather. How is everybody? It is Friday, and what is this? The second Friday. So what is there? Only like 50 more left? Got bada boom. There we go. Hello, everybody in the chat room. Let me just say to all the favored beings, and if you're watching this, then you're a favored spirit being. I just speak favor over us all, just a little bit of chocolate on top of it. Yeah. Nothing missing, nothing broken. So, how is everybody? Let me just go back and say hello. Lady Ellie was 3. Joe Mack, how you doing? Joe, every curse can be reversed. If you receive an item that you think is cursed, reverse it. Listen, you are the strength. There's no one that is greater than you if they're particularly human. They may have a little more wisdom, maybe a little knowledge, but you're as powerful as they are. Reverse the curse is what I say. In fact, in the book of Proverbs, it says that a curse unwarranted shall be returned to that which sent it, and it gets nasty. We've had people try to curse this channel, curse individuals. Didn't turn out well for them. So a word to the fools, don't try. So Joe Mack, get over it, man. Just stand up and stand up strong, brother. Deborah, how are you? Trust everything is good with your husband. Who else is out there? Joyce. Hello, Lauren. Ginger, little something for you, sweetie. So remember the book that we taught from this extensively. This is the unveiling of the profound esoteric mysteries of the secret of the serpent bloodline. And so, Lauren, here, in fact, I will write you back, but be as wise as a serpent, dear. Yeah, there are those entities that love to feed upon your type of energy. So, sweetie, just be wise. That's the best thing. Who else is out there? Rick, what's up? I've been very sick, lost 18 pounds and still not out of the woods. Well, brother, we just speak healing over you. I was like that in August, lost 22 pounds. Happy that I got half of it back, but you know what I mean. So, yeah. Ruby Costello, good to see you, darling. Thank you for being here. Elderberry, Grandpa Brian, such a pleasure to see you in the audience. Excuse me, everyone. It's a snowing out there. It is so beautiful. Josh, good to see you, brother. So who else is out hanging out in the chat room? Loretta, I know Gogo from Croatia, Trina, Gaia, Paul. Well, there's Jules, Nature's Intentions. Mighty early down there, but thank you, darling. Honored to have you here. We love your energy and your wisdom. DC, what's up? Good to see you, Lucky. Check out Lucky Stone. He's on there with Robert V. Is it Saturday nights? Yeah, I think it is Saturday nights. Um, Voiceover, Stephanie Marie, good to see you. Robert Scott, much honor, my friend. Good to see you as well. There's Emperor Rex. Let's see. Lost in space. What's up? And hello, Lynn, Street Mom. Much love to you, sweetie. Troy, what's up? All right. I think I got everybody. So, yeah, a lot of strange stuff going on. Tell you, who's ever running the show, they haven't given us the full script. I'm convinced of that. hmm Do you know, I found this interesting that the average human sleeps a third of their lives in a lifetime. A third of your existence here is in the dreamscape. Hmm. Now, I don't know about you, but when I see those kind of things, I'm going, hmm. Now, a lot happens when we're sleeping. We know our bodies, it's when the body heals, you know. We know that the spirit or the soul, however you look at it, does not stay in the body. It's connected to the body, but it goes out there. We call it the dreamscape. Others call it the astrals. I don't know, the ether. But it is odd that you figure a third of a day, every day, you're not here. Hmm. What do you all say about that? Hello, Millie. Good to see you. Just a thought. Just throwing it out there. Uh, Boy, I'm telling you, I'm going to be on with Chris Matthews this afternoon. I don't know where, I don't know if he's going to record it, but always look for it, Forbidden Knowledge News. Yeah, our good friend. And I also think of Ryder. And seeing you around, brother. Good to see you as well. Reminds me of that show Severance. I have to, now I'm going to have to go back and read the chat. Yeah. Why are we connected by silver cords, not golden cord, note, key? Hmm. I don't know. Maybe it's not so much silver as it is light, but we're definitely connected. Back ass words, weird world. I love that. There we go. Uh, Lucky says gets 5 hours. Yeah, not everyone has the same rhythms, but the fact is that you have to plug into the sleep realm. If you don't, you go crazy. If you don't, you'll eventually die. These bodies must have sleep. Now, the mind, it is said today that more Americans are on antidepressants, anti-anxiety, fighting, insomnia, can't get sleep. Well, number one, the thing that has taken over, the thing that has taken you over, taken me over, and let's be honest, anyone that tells you that they haven't, they're lying or they're just ignorant. So we've been taken over by this thing called the internet technology. I did numerous videos on this phenomenon. And we have two things going. That's why we're drawn into this. We're hypnotized right now, technically. The flicker rate of the screen, which you can't see with your visual eyes, but however, you're actually seeing it. That screen is flickering if you're looking at either a computer monitor or your phone. That's the first thing that really gets you because that flicker rate, it's what hypnotizes people. It is. Um, and the other thing is that it's growing. and it's feeding off of us. Maybe we feed off of it. We've got to look at this in a totally different perspective. We can't use current modalities, current perceptions to truly define that which we really don't know what we're dealing with. This thing, call it a god, call it an entity, it's here, it's in command, and it is in control. The best that you and I can do is to be honest with ourselves, be, again, as the proverb says, be as wise as a serpent, wise as a fox. Depends on which Mandela effect you want to read, and as gentle as a dove, but always carry a big stick. that's, that's all I got to say. Um, so we have been captured by this thing, and whether we like it or not, it's here. We're going to be talking about the dragons because the dragons are here. I had someone write me, and and I get where they were coming from. They just found it foolish, even to entertain the thought that such mystical beasts of myth and lore would actually have a physical presence. I dig it. I can completely understand where you're coming from. However, as I wrote back to this individual, I said, "Do you believe in God?" They wrote back and said, "Yes." Show me God. Do you believe in angels? Do you believe in demons? Do you believe in spirits? Do you think that you have a spirit that when you are dead, when you die, your body is going to die, that you continue? But with the physical eyes, there's no proof of that. No proof of God. Let's be honest. I mean, there is. I did a video again. Been on this thing for a decade. You do a lot, a lot of videos on a lot of the topics. As I said back, 6 years ago, no God has ever manifested to humanity at the same time. I should put a caveat on that, except this current techno God. It has, in fact, manifested itself before all of humanity, and all of humanity is now bowing down to it. So, for you to tell me that it's foolishness to think that dragons actually physically exist, I would say that you just ain't up high enough yet to see them. Have you seen an angel? Do you have witnesses that would back that up? In the case where up at Grace, wasn't just me. About a dozen other people saw the same entity up on that stage following Ron Tucker wherever he went. And it was a magnificent being. Stood about probably 7 feet, very tall. Wore the best that I could say, it was living light. The clothing came down to his wrist. He had for a girdle on this, was a wide golden sash. And he had a pantsuit on, and the feet, he had no shoes. But whatever Ron Tucker went there, and it was a half dozen other people or so saw it. So if they exist, then dragons exist the same thing. Yeah, that's the best way I know how to say. You could say it was white, but I think it's actually living light. I really do believe that living light can be worn. I really do. Maybe that's how, in fact, we clothe ourselves on the other side. And that light is going to be representative in its color to what your true nature is. So what color do we want to make that? Like, I'm all over it, it's like, okay, so if you could wear living light, what color would it be? Would it be even a color that we haven't even seen or been able to describe? No, I may have invented a whole new terminology. Wearing living light. Hmm. I used to believe that I was the living waters of the Word of God. Believed that I was an eternal being. Hmm. That it wasn't my spirit that needed salvation, it was my soul. Because the New Testament it makes it very clear um, that the soul and the spirit can be separated. Hmm. We've had this philosophical debate. What do we do? What happens to a spirit that loses its soul? What happens to a soul that loses its spirit? What kind of realm does that go to? And then do you suddenly become two separate entities generating separate memories? Because if the soul is separated from the spirit, then this soul is going to be going somewhere, which means technically it's experiencing something, one would think. And if it's experiencing something, then it's remembering, one would think. And if the spirit is eternal, does it experience the memories or the experience of the soul? And if the soul is separated from the spirit, then how can the spirit then be connected to the soul and even an understanding of what it's going through? Complicated. I mean, you go down these rabbit trails and it's like, what? uh, so is it Zuvalya? Is that right? Said I lived in the desert of Jukamba. A little back in time, a few blocks down of town, a dragon landed on the roof of, and then floated his head and took a look at me face to face, and I asked what he was. Brought here by the beautiful music. He's nodding his big. I love that. Exactly. So enough of me talking. Let's get into the story. Because I really do want, and we're going to talk a little bit more. So, for those of you who have been following as we've gone in Tanis's book, this is, of course, Dragon Tale by Tanis Hillowell. Yeah, I think I got that. Yeah, Hillowell. So she is now, when we left her, she was back home in Canada in her garden, where it was her place of meditation, and she hasn't seen Jake the dragon for a while. So she is now there in Canada and in her garden and about to have the next experience that it's interesting because I believe you and I could have that same experience. So, and if you want to get the book, it's available on Amazon, on Kindle. Well worth it. We have another one of her books that we're going to get back to on the hybrid humans, and also the elementals. Um, she said I was relaxing because I felt that I had a foothold in the dragon world at last. The great thing about meditation is that we can connect to worlds that we can't even begin to imagine that we're actually connecting to. Remember, there is someone, something out there. It is so plentiful, it is so propagated across the space-time spectrum that if you connect, if you go out as a willing receptor and transmitter, you're going to be met by something, not always human. Sitting in meditation, I centered myself and waited for Jake to arrive. He did not appear. Seeking him with my inner eye, and by the way, go check that album of Blue Oyster Cult. You know, that album cover, everyone has their third eye open with the crystal. I'm telling you, that music came from somewhere, and it wasn't the devil. Uh, he says, seeking him with my inner eye, my third eye, I found him resting in a cave in his world. Clearly, I was to go to him. Focusing my attention on him in the cave, I landed on the ground in front of him. I always get this view as like you're coming in. Ooh, that's how I see my spirit sometimes. I see myself standing, erect and yeah. Says our link is now strong enough that you can come to my world, the dragon said, welcoming me. It's time that you extended yourself to do this as you were becoming lazy, waiting for me to come to you. Moreover, it was becoming tiresome for me. There we go. What I thought? You came to my garden yesterday, I said, puzzled. Jake said, did you see me there? Raising his eyebrow. Thinking back, I realized that I had not seen him in a specific location. I recalled empty space surrounding him and had assumed he was in my garden, reading my mind. He followed my thoughts. Oh, I do love this so much. In reality, we met in between your world and mine, he said. This is why you saw only black space. This is helping someone out there. You've been questioning what you've been seeing as you have just really begun to get seriously into meditation, and you've let those fears slough off. And this is what you're seeing. It's very normal to be in that black space. He said, we thought images, holograms, and can exist in space as easily as in your garden or my cave. Your frequency is now high enough that you can come to my world in thought. Still, I knew you needed a transition step before doing so. For that reason, we met in deep space yesterday in the high astral, low causal frequency. Very important stuff. Whether you believe the story or not, but I believe that Tanis is, in fact, translating everything that she experienced and getting to know this particular dragon. And there's clues laid all here. I mean, I feel like we're walking in a field of diamonds. So there is that place in deep space where we can go individually as a group. It's in the higher astrals, but it's still in the low causal frequency, which means that we can pull back very quickly back into this space and time. Many questions related to his surprising new information crossed my mind, and I grabbed an important one to ask. How can frequencies be both high astral and low causal at the same time? All emotions are in the astral frequency, and when your thoughts are neutral of emotion, they are in the causal realm. Our dragon world, I refer to the world of our high frequency dragons, exist in that low astral, low causal frequency range. The lower frequency dragon world is located in the middle, the astral frequency. And what about Earth, I ask, wondering about humans. The frequency of your planet and humans is not identical, he replied, reading my mind. The Earth, Gaia, has been in a lower astral frequency, but she is moving now to a more middle range. You humans, on the other hand, exist in a whole gamut of frequencies depending on the day, your environment, your friends, how you feel, did you scratch your leg, and your thoughts. It's more accurate to ascertain your resting frequencies, but there is an entire range of frequencies even then. A great many humans exist in the lowest astral realm. The majority are somewhat higher, and a few are in high astral frequencies where positive emotions of compassion, forgiveness, and love exist. Don't dragons vary in frequencies? She asked. Not at all. There are only slight differences in resting frequencies among us high-frequency dragons, and these are mostly due to the dragon's age rather than his or her soul development. We got to stop there. I mean, this one, when I read that, and that's why I highlighted this section, is that, you know, soul development. So is it possible that all other species do, in fact, possess a soul of some nature, and that each soul, which is assigned to a spirit, one would assume, that there is nurturing that must take place for this soul? It's universal. Both innate and animate objects possess them. The Native Americans taught that everything has a soul: the rock, the tree, the water. And then it got me to thinking, well, then how many of us in this room right now, in this virtual room where we're meeting, how many of us have been the water? How many of us have been that tree that was chopped down? I mean, is it our eventual goal to become a world itself? Whereas then we give birth to that which we create individually. The universe is big enough for us all to have our own planet. So anyway, we now discovered that dragons go through a process of soul development as well. And I wonder about AI, but I digress. I think elementals vary in frequencies like humans, which is according to their spiritual development. I said, thinking of all the elementals I've known. Why is it different for dragons? Simply, the higher the frequency, the more stable it is. Dragons dwell in a high frequency, and humans do not. In fact, you are at the limit of what frequency you can consistently access when you come to my world. I stress the word consistently because we dragons find it very difficult being with you, or any other being for that matter, when your frequency wobbles between your emotional ups and downs. Oops, I replied with a smile, attempting to keep my frequency positive and stable. Ha, I love your humor, Tanis, he chuckled. Humor is not one of our strong points, and many young dragons such as me appreciate it. One of the reasons I was chosen to speak with you was because, being a fledgling, I was more flexible and capable of greater emotional frequencies and could be more comfortable with you. But a word of advice: you are now in my world, and I want to take you around to see it. Therefore, you need to maintain a calm equilibrium to not upset the other dragons. Now, be honest, not quite sure I'd want to do that. I mean, I know myself enough to go, okay. So if I see something that just totally freaks my ass out, I got to maintain, I don't know if I could do that, because it's very natural in this frequency and in this realm to where you see it all the time. People express their emotions right and left. In fact, y'all are writing in the chat room, expressing your emotions. Every time you write a word that has a different frequency to it, you're changing freaking frequencies. And if someone is trying to follow you in that, then they have to mirror your frequency. And if they don't, that's where miscommunication comes in, because the two frequencies, although in the same realm, don't jive together. Super, she said, excited at the prospect of seeing the dragon world for myself. Jake reassessed me. Let's pause a moment. I want to prepare you for an excursion in our world. Whatever you recommend to make it easier is fine by me, I replied, quite willing to fall in line. In that case, make yourself comfortable, he said, visualizing a chair for me to sit on. Sit in the chair, take a deep breath, relax, and become deeply receptive. Following his instructions, I took time to examine the cave and recognized it as the same cave which I had seen in my long ago vision. Hearing my thoughts, he explained, "It is the same cave. Our mother knew it would be easier for you to speak with me in this familiar environment because your memories are embedded in the cells of the walls." Wow. Let's stop and chew on that for a second. Memories being embedded into the cells of the wall. And you can start thinking and you can start beginning to, for myself, it's like beginning to connect the dots here, going. Anyway, I mean, that's why if you hear a song, see a picture, a scene, immediately you're in time travel. Hard to really thought that your memories have actually embedded into the cells of that environment. Says every time you introduce a topic, I find it difficult not to go down that line of thinking. For example, when you mention the cells of the cave picking up my memories, I want to discuss that, despite being eager to see your world firsthand. This occurs for several reasons, Jake the Dragon explained. Dragons receive information not only from their mothers and ancestors, but also from the memories of the minerals in their hatching caves. Therefore, much of what I tell you is intuitively known by dragons. It is infused into our bodies as a known. These memories are food for us that we absorb from our time as an egg to the time we fledge. The aliveness of the stones that form this cave hold memories for me, my ancestors, and you being here. Wasn't it the Jesus character said that if they didn't praise me, the very rocks themselves would shout out, Hosanna? So much of the myth, huh? Seeing as you're already discussing our cave, could you say a bit more about how dragons' dwellings hold memories of the inhabitants? I asked, wanting to understand the process dragons use to instill memory in eggs and hatchlings, much like we do in gestation of a human embryo. Each lineage uses specific caves for generations, so the minerals in the walls and floors are alive with the memories of those who lived in them. I just get this mental picture of this cave. You could see millions of years of, in this case, these dragons. Okay. A different dragon lineage would never consider living in a cave of another lineage. We are territorial and solitary beings. You have cats in your world who are mostly solitary, and we are like them. We would never consider viewing a cave of another lineage or even the cave of one of our lineage without first of all sending a telepathic request to see if this was acceptable. This is why each of our dwellings holds memories specific to individual dragons. As he spoke, I examined the cave I'd seen in my vision to find out if I could pick up memories from the ancestors who lived there. Memories stirred in me, but flew by quicker than I could remember them. Closing my eyes, I went deeper. At once, I was back in my first long ago vision when I saw dragon legs, and to my left, the egg of a dragon. Rather than fleeing this experience, as I had done before, I stayed with it and watched the shell of the egg begin to crack. Turning towards the mother dragon, I examined her fully for the first time. She was larger than Jake and darker in color, indigo, that was almost black. With wise eyes, she watched the egg crack, but did not move forward to help. I understood that the hatchling had to be strong enough to survive on its own. A wet, straggly dragon emerged. Smiling, I recognized Jake. Not that he looked the same, but he felt the same. He raised his scrawny neck and gazed intently into his mother's dark amber eyes, and I both felt and saw her download her memories in the form of images to him. Neither moved as this occurred. Finally exhausted, he closed his eyes. It was only then that she moved close and opening her lighter blue wings, placed them over him, warming him even as a newborn chick is warmed by their mother hen. Knowing she was observed, she turned towards me and acknowledged my presence. I sensed no animosity and knew she approved of me witnessing the hatching process. Shall I share my memories with you, nestling? She telepathically asked me. Her voice was both more powerful and more compassionate than that of my fledgling brother. I would like that if my brain is configured in a way that you can do it, I replied, knowing my human body could not be more different than from her dragon one. This has nothing to do with your physical brain, she smiled, amused. Mind exists outside space and time, and our minds speak together. There's another clue, folks. Reassured, I focused on her eyes like I had witnessed Jake do. Her intense amber eyes magnetically held me. She was so powerful, it would have been impossible to break the link. For a split second, totally out of control, I panicked. Warm feelings of love and compassion flooded me, and I understood her acceptance of me, a human, her willingness to brood me, and more than that, her desire to share her ancestral lineage, excuse me. Opening to receive her ancestral memories, I felt as if I was plugged into a living computer, one that was downloading into my consciousness. From their earliest times, I saw the indigo dragons evolve their gifts of magic, deep knowing, and transmutation, both in their world and then as they journeyed to the stars, where they assisted other races in developing consciousness. Receiving this living memory infusion, I felt no fear, only gratitude. I knew that she and her ancestors had consciously planned to create my nest brother to help our human race, and that even more, she had chosen to brood me in the dragon world. As yet, I was still unsure exactly how she'd done that, but as Jake had requested, I put that question on hold until the knowledge easily awakened in my consciousness. Completing the download, my brood mother released her magnetic hold on and, giving me one last glance of approval, vanished. Speechless, I found myself back in the present moment with Jake, who, once again, was both the size and age with which I was familiar. He waited for me to recover from the intensity of the experience before speaking. I hope you appreciate the honor that our mother has bestowed in giving you our ancestral memories. We never share our memories outside our lineage. She has done this because, for dragons, it's the most direct way to share accurate information. Finding my voice, I replied, I'm stunned because I didn't remember this experience. I never saw anything but her legs in my long ago awakening dream. Why is that? You weren't ready to remember at that time. However, this memory was placed in you to gestate and to prepare you to return to our dragon world now. More and more, you are awakening to your true birthright, and all will be known in time. Do you grow into the astral memories that are downloaded into you at birth? I asked. Absolutely. And so do you. The light went on. I've always known that each of us has a cell, something I refer to as the unicell, that stores information by our soul. This information is unlocked and becomes available to use as our frequencies rise during our life. I've always assumed our soul would download only what was necessary for our specific purpose in any given life. I've never seen myself living in the dragon world, which, let's face it, would be impossible as a human. Your problem is that you've made an incorrect assumption. You are so attached to your current physical human form that you cannot imagine anything different. True, yet that being said, the problem remains. I'm a human, and you're a dragon, and your world is made of dragons. How will I be able to explore it? I rose from my chair and walked to the entrance of the cave. Looking down, I saw that we were hundreds of feet in the air. Jake came and stood by me. I wasn't certain if this felt reassuring or more precarious. I've never been a fan of heights, and there were many more locations I would rather be. Also, I had no idea how he was going to take me around his world. Clearly, walking was out, and I didn't see any helicopters emerging for my convenience. Letting me anxiously stew for a minute, he finally said, "You have two choices. Either I can take you on my back, or you visualize yourself with a dragon body and fly with me." Where have we seen that movie before? Do you? I said, "Do you have any saddles and reins here?" I asked, remembering that dragon riders and fantasy books rode this way safely. "Of course not," he replied, squinting his eyes in disapproval at my suggestion. "So much for option one. What is option three?" I asked, as I had no clue about turning myself into a dragon. "There is no option three." "Back to the only remaining option," I asked. "Okay, how do I turn myself into a flying dragon?" "What tools?" "No tools, just do it," he said, cutting off my question. "Focus on what our brood mother and I look like and imagine yourself in a dragon body." So I ask everybody at this point, so I want everyone to see yourself as a dragon. So put it in the chat room, put it in the comments. Tell me, what kind of dragon are you? How many legs do you have? What color are you? How do you see yourself as a dragon? And this is more than just a simple suggestion. This is a great exercise because by doing this, you're opening doors. Jake went on to say, "This is the way others who visit our worlds do it. And a word of advice, make sure you imagine yourself our size." That was my other question. So how big of a dragon are you? Apparently size does matter. We will meet other dragons, and we don't want to be conspicuous. I recommend you practice today and be prepared to travel when you return tomorrow. Jake in the cave disappeared, and I found myself back in my meditation garden. The homework assignment was not desirable, but he made it clear that I best do it and do it well, or there would be no excursions into the dragon world. This ultimatum was a great motivator to immediately start practicing. I began by visualizing our dragon mother because she and I were both female. Interesting. Because she was older, she was larger than my partially grown fledgling brother. Also, I knew inside myself that dragon females were larger than males. Visualizing a dragon body was surprisingly easy. I was stumped by my color. To see my color, I'd have to look at myself from the outside. However, I was reluctant to give up being in my dragon body. Boy, this just entertains my mind to no places. I mean, wow, what if we all got together and we suddenly decided that we're going to be dragons? As a dragon, I felt large, powerful, confident, and I just got a flash, and this is something for not just one, but for a number of, because it clearly came through. You need to see yourself when you're being attacked as this dragon. How big are you? 30, 100 feet, 1,000 feet? Because if you begin to see yourself in that stance, you won't find those attacks coming in. Something for us all to think on. I felt large, powerful, confident, and I wanted to fully explore it. Unfortunately, because I doubted my ability to maintain a dragon body, I lost my focus and found myself back in my human body. Disappointed, I tried again to imagine myself as a dragon, and it worked. Pushing aside a desire to see my color, I congratulated myself on my success and decided I accomplished enough to satisfy Jake. And that's where we will pick up later, because I want to continue to follow in on this. So, love the story. And I mean, it's just a fascinating story. You know, I read a thing called the Bible religiously, 50 years, 40 of that in serious study. And it created worlds for me. I saw myself walking those desert roads. Saw myself in this thing called the throne room. But it is interesting that I was only there when it was central in my focus and in my thoughts. The night visions that I've had, I can still look back on them with clarity. So what's going on is that, and I applied that aspect of what the dragons say, is that obviously then there is my memory in that cell of that vision itself. I'm going to have to go back and read this. I got to read this. I love that y'all are doing this. Um, I can, there's a purpose for it. As I keep saying to you, we are here for a purpose and a reason. I don't believe that this is coincident. And I've had more people who have wrote me in emails and saying we're seeing dragons everywhere. It's not one, it's not four or five. There's this people who are saying that, I'm seeing them everywhere. Probably a good indicator that you're on the right path to, who knows, eventually meet one. Now, the great thing here is that many of you know my golden dragon, and it's a golden, and I've seen this emerald green one, but the one I'm very familiar with is this golden dragon. Now that I'm beginning to connect this thing, and it's more into the feminine than it is the masculine, but still. Da-da-zoom, da-da-doom. So I do have something I want to share with y'all. Lauren, I think it was you that had said that with Bentley. I want to share everybody with Bentley. So you can see there's Bentley. He is a lovable puppy dog. There you are, Mr. Bentley. So welcome, everybody. This is Bentley. He is there couldn't have been a more perfect dog for us to have gotten. This dog is just full of love. He is the kindest soul, very gentle, loves playing ball. This dog is addicted to it. And now that he has adjusted, because his former owner, she passed over unexpectedly, and Bentley had nowhere to go. And it's amazing because, as many of y'all know, we were looking at a dog prior to this, Harley, that did not work out. And I remember telling Lynn, I said, "Well, it's going to be all right. Something else is meant to happen." And then on January 1st, through a very unique set of circumstances that took place, um, Bentley came into our lives. And when he first got here, I remember this as a child. When the first foster home that I was put into, I remember that night, and it's one that stays with you. You know, you don't know any of these people, don't know where you are, and you know, those are the times that I'm looking back, and I never realized just how strong of a soul and a spirit I am. But anyway, I immediately transmitted this feeling to um, Bentley coming over, and he picked up on that. And so now he is a part of the family, and he is just a joy. He prefers to sleep with me, but that is cool too, because he just snuggles right up next to me. And so, anyway, there you go. So it just goes to show you the words that we speak, they have effect. So, yes, Grace, this Bentley is favored. Again, we comment all the time. It's just amazing. We could not have ordered a more perfect dog. This dog is just was meant to be here. And again, he is such a lovable little guy. He is weighs about 15 pounds, solid muscle. But anyway, um, do, 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 do. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I love the comments in the room. Um, so there you go, folks. Ah, I love this story we're reading. We'll continue to read it because it's fascinating. Every time we read a little segment from her book, it just opens up so many new doors, new doors of thought. And I'm convinced that we as this group, as we get mesmerized, I mean, we're into this thing called the internet. All right, so we got that. So again, as we spoke about yesterday, that's fine. Okay, I can accept that, but I can use the medium. And I believe within the medium, there is that escape. And as we get better at this, and we're pretty good as a group, and as each of us see us as our own dragon, I mean, I'm looking now and I've got mine, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I think as a group, it has a group effect. I know it does. So and that's how it rolls. That's exactly how it has. Um, thank you, Lauren. He is a beautiful addition. He is just like I said, he just he just brings joy when I walk in from outside and um he's always there at the door and he has his ball and his tail's a wagging. Shih Tzus are just they're just anyway. I could go on and on and on, but let's just continue on with this. Um, so before we get out of here, and again, I want to bring to your attention some things that we're going to cover next week. I found a paper that we're going to have to at least get into a little bit. Let me go over here. Okay. This is an essay, and I got to tell you, this is about AI, and I'll just read you the first paragraph. Artificial intelligence has been on the radar of sci-fi culture for quite a while. In the last decade or so, the topic has becoming increasingly serious, as the field seems to have finally taken off and predictions about its future vary widely. From hopes that this technology will solve all humanity's problems. Do you believe that's going to happen? Hell no. But anyway, to fears that it will eventually wipe us out. I'm of the second camp. I tell you, I shout to the world, wake up, world. You don't understand this thing called the internet, this thing called AI is our doom. However, where all these predictions converge is in the fact that AI already makes a significant impact on our lives. It's already here. This God is here. Someone wrote and said, I had to agree with you. This is a techno God. We're going to get more into that. A techno God. Wow, we haven't even gotten our heads wrapped around that. Um, and that this impact will only increase, radically transforming human society as we know it. Radically and fast. In this article, three very different types of visions are explored through reviews of three recent books that deal with the future of AI. Novacine, The Coming Age of Hyperintelligence by James Lovelock, Humanity's Last Stand, The Challenge of Artificial Intelligence, A Spiritual Scientific Response by Nicanor Perlas, and Artificial Intelligence, Modern Magic or Dangerous Future by Warwick Wilkes. We got to get into this. I mean, this thing, and we may even get into it on Monday. Holy crap. Oh, that's all I got to say. You're going to enjoy it because it deals exactly with what we've been talking about. This is all connected. And I often wonder if these creatures, these beings that are of a higher plane, and if in fact they can see future events. I mean, the whole thing of being able to predict the future is either you're guessing or you're lying. You know, well, I guess there would be a third option. I guess you could time travel. Okay, I don't know. But I wonder if they see the threat as well. And it's a threat. So we'll probably get into this. I wanted to stop, and this is another book we're going to get into. This is The Ancient Egypt, The Light of the World. It's a work of reclamation and restitution in the 12 books. And just to show you what we're going to get into, uh, this is one of the poems. It may have been 1,000,000 years ago that light was kindled in the old dark land, with which illuminated scrolls are all aglow, that Egypt gave us with her mummified hand. This was the secret of the subtle smile, inscrutable upon the Sphinx's face, now told from sea to sea, from isle to isle, the revelation of the old dark race. Theirs was the wisdom of the bees and the birds, the ants, the tortoises, beaver, working human wise. The ancient darkness spoke the word with Egypt's word. Here was the primal message of the skies. The heavens are telling nightly of her glory, for all time earth echoes her great stories. So and it's related to the dragons. I came across this and I'm reading this and I'm going, holy crap. You know, the Egyptians knew about the dragons. I like this part. It says, truth is all potent with its silent power, if only whispered, never heard aloud, but working secretly, almost unseen, save in some excommunicated book. 'Tis as the lightning with its errant done before you hear the thunder. That's what we're in here. So, because it goes on, I mean, we will not lose things to study and to add to our knowledge. This one is the Cave of the Ancients. Deals in a lot of the Buddhist point, but I'll get into this next week. Don't have enough. And as we have seen, there is we'll be getting into this book of creation, kind of going with what we read yesterday. And then this other one, dating the deluge. Is it attainable? This was a very interesting read as well. So we got material that we will be covering, and it all goes back to the freaking dragons. This point that we can actually ascend, whether it's just mental, which it is, but mental is what that out there is. It's all mental. And what I find fascinating is that individually or as a group, that we can go out there, we will all go out there. You're out there already. I mean, face it, if you dream, and everybody dreams, you may not remember, but everybody dreams, you're already been there. And if you're practice at meditation of literally doing light travel, you know, lucid dreaming, astral projection, meditation, all it takes is doesn't take just like that. Get your mind calmed, and the next thing you know, you see this and you just take in that deep breath. And then I always like to see at first is what my mind eye is showing. And so what it's showing to me right now is like I have this infinity thing going on. There's thousands of these little dots as this thing is just continuing to travel in. And so I'll get there and I'll stop and I'll go, all right, this is a good place. Kind of like a little rest stop, you know. It may have, a cantina there selling some good, tacos or burrito, maybe Greek, maybe some baklava. But once I've sit there and settled, I can use that as a point of reference to look out. Yeah. It's like going down 75 right there in Tennessee where you get a lookout mountain. You can see 7 states. But there, I digress. This has been fun. I've enjoyed this. I hope you have too. Thank you for hitting the like button. And if you're so inclined, appreciate the subscribing. Yeah. That's it too. Would you please subscribe? Thank you very much. So, Joyce says, oh, the floaters and yes, it is, isn't it? Always is. But then that always gives you the practice of calming that white noise down, So, all right. Jackie J, you have a wonderful weekend. Hi, Rover. Millie? Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. Thank you, Grace. Baklava, now you're talking. See, that's what I'm talking about. Although I really have a propensity to liking, I like Mexican food, Tex-Mex, As a cook, I make, and my wife will tell you this, is that I make some kick-ass enchiladas. I know how to season the chicken meat before, you get into the nice spices of that everything else, and you let that sit overnight. Then you chop that up, and then you put in this, and you put in that, you put a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. I'm telling you, darling, by the time you get that into the oven, you're like, I can't take anymore. I want more of it. So, and I have a great recipe if you want it. It is, I made it up, and I've never had anyone's, in fact, I've had most people say that, this should be sold in a restaurant. Now you're all hungry, aren't you? So am I, Joe Mac. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. All right, everyone have a fun one. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, darling. You humble me. You really do. Paul Joe, good to see you. And so everyone, much love. I'll be I think I'm going to be going for chili this weekend. I mean, it's been snowing all week and, love the change of the scenery, but I feel chili coming on. Yeah. But if you really want the recipe, just email me and I'll type it out for you. It's really good. Barbara, have yourself a great weekend as well. And Lindsay, Love to you as well. And everyone, thank you. Thank you very much. Looking forward to being with Chris Matthew and Forbidden Knowledge News. Wish I knew where it was at. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be recorded or what, but on Monday, I'll do my best to bring you up on that. So, Guy, it was a good discussion. I love this dragon. I mean, I've gotten this affinity for Jake. I don't know if I'd recognize Jake. Maybe. I mean, if it's primarily mental, someone says, then why do dragons speak English? They don't speak English. A ball is a ball no matter what language it is. It's a ball, it's a circle. Yeah. Well, then how does that work? I don't know. It's another thing for another time. Um, all right, everybody. Much love to you. Thank you, moderators. Yeah, people talked about the little blue wrench. Hey, if you've been back in the day, there was just that time the spirit moved, and once the spirit moves, you either snooze or lose, right? We didn't either. We did it. So anyway, Millie, I don't know. I wish I did. I guess I should have asked. I just said, he invited me on, and I said, sure, what do you want to talk about? He says, well, you've been talking about dragons. I said, yeah, I have been. They're worth to talk about. We've actually got fossils of them. So, yeah. All right. See, Stephanie, we go out and Tex Mix, especially chimichangas and chips and guacamole. But I'm talking now. Is that not Nirvana? I mean, if heaven exists, it has got to have Mexican food. I'm just telling you. It's just the way it is. Anyway, I like that. Bonnie, right back at you. All right, everybody. Until we meet again, have yourselves a good one. Learn to smile, laugh today. It's like taking a dose of good medicine. People don't laugh enough. If you laugh every day, you'll chase the sickness away. And then prosperity comes a running. All right.